Hello to all you poker players out there, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where I try and investigate to get edge in Pot Limit Omaha. It is the great game where we get 4 cards instead of only 2, and there's some real gambling going on. As you can see, since the last time I made a video, I played 2,115 hands. I have won $12. I should have been losing 92, but I have a very solid equity. Average all-in equity of nearly 62. As you can see here, things went well for a long time, and then boom, everything just went wrong here. So I want to start off today by talking a little bit about tilt and tilt control and tilt profiles, and my own especially. So there's many different tilt profiles you can have. Mine has been more like the passive tilt, where I just took the one beat after the other without really just letting it happen to me, and without really reacting to it in a constructive way, so I maybe could save some money here and where it was obvious that I was in trouble in a hand. So that has been kind of my tilt profile. The other one has been like when I've been raging. If I have had a cab on my head, I've thrown it in the floor, or sometimes if I have a paper wall or a plastic bottle or something like that, I have taken one of those and it's empty, the plastic bottle, and thrown it into the wall. But the rage is kind of fine, because when I've done that, I will not say I'm over it, because you're never really over it. We always have some kind of tilt profile going with us, but it's kind of when I got it out of my system like that, then I could go back and play hands like 15 seconds later and make rational decisions. So I've been working on those two things. So the funny thing is, like, when I played No Limit Hold'em for the most, or basically always, it was very hard to tilt me. I have seen it all there, so that was why I was basically impossible to tilt. In a way that I just worked so much on my mental game and my tilt control, so it was very hard to tilt me. But then, like 5 days ago or something like that, I actually played some No Limit Hold'em, and I lost like $100 or something like that, but I should actually have been winning 12. I think it was something like that. And as we know, like, equities run way wider. It is harder to crack a no limit hand than a Pot Limit Omaha hand. So I was running very poor, and it actually made me rage and kind of tilt like the way I never thought I would do. Where that was exactly what happened to me when I started to play Pot Limit Omaha. I ended on way too many thin spots and rage way too much when I get 1 outed or 2 outed or 4 outed or whatever it was. So in Pot Limit Omaha, it's very hard to tilt me these days, because I know that game back and forth. But it was just strange for me that I actually kind of lost it in some moments when I played No Limit Hold'em like 5 days ago. But there was just a little bit about my tilt and my tilt profile when things don't go my way, which we have to work on our tilt game, everyone, because and our mental game and our tilt control, because it is important, and it is close to impossible not to face very tough situations when you play poker as much as I do. But that was it about tilt. Today we are gonna use the bucket tool, which is a solver which is provided by Jane Anders and his team in the Mastermind, which is a coaching site for strictly putter Limit Omaha. I can highly recommend it, and I will obviously, as always, leave a link in the description below. I think I'll also use Poker Juice, and I will also use Pro Poker Tools a little bit. So I think the first hand here we have some real gambling going on. There is a race here under the gun, and I have a clean, nice rundown with a suit, and it is a clear call here in the cutoff. And I do go ahead and call button calls also with absolutely reasonable hands. So now the one with the weekend hands come in and squeeze with a short stack, and under the gun calls, and I go ahead and call, and now the button goes ahead and jam. And usually when this happens, this shows a little bit now. This guy calls it off, which he probably should do when he had called the free bet, but this shows a little bit how loose these games can be sometimes. I elect to call it off because very often two players should have aces in this spot here, and versus two hands with aces, I'm not doing too bad. Exactly as it is here, where I have 25% equity, it is just barely enough when we consider that there is quite some rake involved also. I've been getting it in like 5, 6, 7 times over the last 6,000-8,000 hands with these types of rundown, single suited and double suited, and I don't think there has been one single time where two people have shown up with aces. It's been hands like this where I haven't been in a very good shape. But what I did is I took Pro Poker Tools here and ran here first with against all the actual hands, and we can see I hold 25.8% equity, and then I ran it against kings and then 2 times aces, and there my hand goes way up in value with nearly 35% equity, and it would be a very profitable spot. But yeah, that didn't happen. But I'm actually lucky enough to win this hand here. I'm behind here on the turn, but boom, on the river at 10 shows up. So lucky for me. The next hand I'm gonna go over, I have some notes here. Yeah, okay, here it's just a little bit I misplay the hand. So button opens and small blind goes ahead and free bet, and what do we do with a hand like ace 10, 8, 6? Luckily enough, we have the bucket tool to figure out these types of things, and just put it in PLO 50 and 100 big blinds. He raises, and we just gotta figure out what to do with ace 10, 8, 6 double suited, and we will see that we should actually just go ahead and cold 4-bet this hand and go with it in this spot. So I go ahead and call. A mistake on my part. I flop top 2. The initial free better goes ahead and bet 2/3. I elect just to call here I've seen enough of these spots to know that he can have aces here, even though there is a ace on the flop. This guy flops a bunch of equity with a wrap and a backdoor flush draw, and he just goes ahead and call again. Now I turn the nuts, so it's becoming quite an easier spot, and I check and let him. If a club should roll off, then he would be more inclined to actually call some kind of bet. Now he just go ahead and jam, and the initial raise a fold, so I don't see much point in not just jamming it in here, and I do, and he goes ahead and called up with 0% equity on the turn, so that was nice. But the main point here is that the ace 10 8 6 in this exact spot with the button, small blind free bet, and here in the big blind we should actually go ahead and 4-bet and just go with it. So that was one, and we have a similar hand here, if it's not exactly the same. No, it isn't. It is the hijack open, so it's a way stronger range, but it is a small blind and free bet. And if we just go ahead and see here what is going on, raise, and we have here ace jack 9 8, ace jack 9 8, double suited, and we can see here it's only 1.5% of the time we shall fold, and we shall basically never call, but most of the time we shall just go ahead and 4-bet. And again I go ahead and call, so a mistake on my part. And here with top pair, top kicker, and he goes ahead and bet, I actually elected to fold, because here on this paired board, if he has the kind of hand he is trying to tell he has, like aces or kings, then we are so far behind that it's going to be hard to realize that equity with that bet sizing. The next hand here is one of these wheel combinations, which, as I understand it until now, is really not that strong. But we have a min raise from gun, and I sit here with ace 5 free deuce, double suit, and I go ahead and free bet. And just let's investigate. It's hard when we have these min raises because they really should pot. But let's try and take a look at it. It was ace 5 free deuce, and it was double suited, and I think it's a misplay I do here. Yeah, 100% fold. If it is folded to me, then it's obviously open. But these wheel combinations is just not as valuable as we would like to think sometimes. If we try, and I think this is an open from every position, but I'm not sure actually if it is an open under the gun, because they can easy face a ton of trouble. Now we'll see here it's a fold. Try and take a look at it from the hijack here. They can run in a lot of troubles with overdraws, two straights with these. Yeah, okay. In the hijack it is an open, but under the gun it is fold. So it is a very charming hand to look at, but it is not as valuable as we very often tend to think. Now I say we, not even me anymore, but in the beginning when I was playing Limit Omaha, I thought this was very strong hands to, not very strong, but very good to run these kinds of light free bets with. I flop bottom pair and a backdoor flush draw, and I elect this time to go ahead and bet and just try and take it down right there. Big blind, which has just cold called my free bet, is again this will tap a typical PLO 25 in the fast forward games will overvalue kings and queens here, and should never have aces, because they should just cold 4-bet pre-flop. But when he elects to call here, I don't see any idea in keep, and especially here with the 9-10 that completes with the queen. I don't see any idea in keep barreling, and he goes and bets the river for half pot, and I just go ahead and fold. But a mistake to play this hand in that fashion from the get-go. The next hand we have here, let's see, yeah, okay, we have a little bit of cool river spot is my assumption. Cool, I don't know. So again, a click, and I sit here with ace queen 9 free, and go ahead some free bets it, and he calls. Yeah, now I remember. Okay, let's take a look at it here in the bucket tool. Double suited, low double suited is we're going for here. So was it gun? Small one, it was a hijack. Hijack raises, there's fold here, and I am sitting here with can't remember it. Ace queen 9 free. And LSD, low double suited. Should have been LDS. So we will see here, this is actually a fold, but yeah, I went ahead and free betted. Now king jack 7-6 tri-suit, I don't think even there's an open in the hijack, but so we can justify it in some way, but yeah, not really. I go ahead and bet small on this monotone board. We should do that always, if we have it or not. Here on the turn, I actually pick up top pair. Now he has a ton of equity here with his pair and a straight draw. On the turn, I try and close my eyes and imagine I actually have aces and check. And here when it pairs up, he checks, and I go ahead and try and bluff with a 75 pot size bet on the river, but he just snaps me off. So I don't know if we can say it's a good call or a bad call. Probably a good call, because he had the best hand this time. But yeah, I think this is a spot we should bluff with the way ranges play, where if we try and take a look at it here in the bucket tool, now he raises, he folds, and I go ahead and free bet here, and if we just take a look at it one more time, I have a 6.7% free bet, and if we, I don't know if I can figure this out on the fly. Omaha counts ace ace XX. We can see that we have nearly 2% of our hands is aces. So out of 6.7% percent range. There's like 28% that is aces. So we do have aces quite a bit here on this spot, and the way I played the hand where I check the turn and barrels the river, I think it's quite a credible line, but it didn't work out this time. Then the next hand I have marked up is quite an equity driven spot where I go ahead and open up with Jack 998 single suited to the Jack, and the small blind goes ahead and free bet, and I go ahead and call. If we take a look at the bucket tool here and say I open up small blind free bets, and we download it here. And I hold Jack 998 single suit, and it is a fold, really. So I should have folded this hand pre-flop. Really, something wrong here. Sorry. Here it is. I couldn't understand it because I have checked it before. Single suited, 100% call. Raise, and here you see that the small blind should free bet 10.25% of the hands in this spot. So if we try and put it into poker deuce, and then we will give the small blind here free bet percent of 10 out of position, like that, and we go to the flop where I flop a straight draw and bottom pair. Then we will see here that I hold 44% equity versus 56% equity. When you have aces on these two Broadway card and quite connected, but it is a rainbow board, it is very often a good idea to be ready to fold your hand and even take some check call lines in, as I understand it. He do go ahead and bet half pot, and I have an easy call here versus his range. I need 24% equity to call, and as we can see, range versus range, I have or hand versus range, I have 44% equity. So here on the turn, I pick up not additional outs, but there's a flush draw coming, and on the turn, he goes ahead and pots it, and I need 29.47% equity to call here with a stacked pot ratio of 1.7 basically. I elected to go ahead and fold, but it is a very close spot. I have exactly the equity versus the range of hands. Now, when he actually double barrels here, it will strengthen his hand a little bit. The thing is, like, with $11 left, and if he has picked up a hard draw, a flush draw, I don't think I have a lot of fold equity. I have perfect blockers to jam here. If he had bet like half pot, I could probably find a jam here, because then I would have way much more fold equity, but with this full pot size big. It seems to me like he's committed. I will say I have jammed these spots before, where they have folded with that kind of stack, but yeah, I like to fold, and yeah, I'm not sure if I played this one correct. Absolutely not sure, but that was the way I played it. So that was that. The next hand here, yeah, this is quite an interesting one because I misplayed totally, like in many ways. If we take a look at the root here and say that we hold these double paired hands, is like very charming, right? And you should kind of flop a set 25% of the time. But as we can see here, it's actually a fold. It's just too disconnected. If it was double suited, I'm pretty sure it is open, yeah. But single suited, it is too disconnected and with only one suit. And these types of sets we flop here can easily end in a set over set situation that can cost a lot of money. But I wasn't that wise at that point. I hope I am now. So I go ahead and open, and King Jack 9 6 double suited. I'm not sure. We can take a look at it if he actually should go ahead and free bet here. King Jack 9 6. I think it's a fold actually. But we can take a look at it. Can also be a calling hand. Yeah, it's a folding hand in that spot. Nevertheless, he goes ahead and free bet, and this guy goes ahead and calls cold. And I just think that it's a super strong range he comes in with. So I then call from the big blind. So I go ahead and call 2, and I do flop middle set, and small blind pots into me. And I elected to go ahead and fold. Very big mistake. I was dead sure he had flopped the top set here. It's not a very draw heavy board, but still, I just thought that he was maxing out value in his way. With this guy flops a double gut shot, 2 backdoor flush draws, so he's not in that bad of shape. So he jams. And he calls it up with top pair and a bunch of outs to some 2 pairs if this guy actually have aces over here. And if we see here, I would have made a boat on the turn, so it would have been quite a strong hand. But he made a better boat, so it is kind of a lucky fold, we can say. But it was definitely not correct of me. When it comes to tilt and all these things, I would like to show this hand here. Because sometimes when you read hand analysis on the forums and stuff like that, it is often an aces hand is a big pot, a multi-way pot, and all these kind of things. And I often read that, let's just try and see how it plays out here. High Jack opens, there's a call from the button, I go ahead and free bet, there's a cold call over here, a call here, and a call here. So we have a stack to pot ratio that's less than 2 here for my stack, which is the one I have to relate to here. And I often see that people kind of say, in this situation, I just close my eyes and jam any flop, and I can tell you that's not a good idea. Check the flop first, and if it seems like it connects very well with a lot of other ranges, then take it easy. So if we take a look at it here, I have 3% equity. And for me, this is a very, very easy check fold. So he flops straight and pots it to protect his hands versus flush draws. This guy flops top 2 pair and a backdoor flush draw, and some backdoor straight draw. This guy flops the second nut flush draw and middle pair, and a gut shot to sucker straight, but it seems to be not good at all. I have a very easy fold here, so be careful with aces when it's a very connected middling flop like this 10-8-7 double suited. And yeah, I do have the ace of clubs and maybe could bluff, but in a multi-way pot, it's just not a good spot. And with these low stack to pot ratios, you're not going to have a lot of fold equity at all. Yeah, for me it was a very easy fold, and just for a kick, so we can see how it played out. He actually hold all the way home. That was it for now. I wish you all the best of luck out in life.